Well, I've got a project to do today. It's one of the winter projects we do on the farm. I'm going to pollard these willow trees. I don't know whether I'll achieve it all today, but I'm certainly going to start on them. These willow trees here have only just been pollarded in the last year or so, but I like to do them quite regularly because they're near a pond and they're difficult to get round when they get big. Some of the other willow trees on the farm that are pollarded, I only do about every 10 to 15 years because they can be left. Because it's not a problem getting around them. Anyway, I'll have a little look at them closer up and I'll explain what pollarding's all about. Okay, so what I've got here are two very old willow trees which have been pollarded, and pollarding is basically a technique of taking off wood on a regular basis off of certain trees. In the old days, things like willow were used for basket weaving. Around here, a thing called putchers, which you used to catch salmon in. Things like that over there. If you look behind, there's an old ash tree that has been pollarded, and they might have been used for fence posts and even firewood. And you can see what they do is they cut back to the sort of crown, that lump at the top, where all the branches are coming out of, and then allow it to shoot out. Leave it for 10 or 20 years and then harvest the wood again. It's a way of getting a continuous crop of wood without actually destroying a tree. Now it's sort of died out really because people don't need to do that sort of technique to get wood for fence posts and stuff. But these willow trees are still pollarded around here basically to preserve the tree, because if we left them, the trees would get top heavy and they'd collapse. It doesn't matter so much with the ash tree because they're a strong tree, but the crowns on a willow will split if they're not continuously pollarded once you start it. So I'm actually funded to pollard these trees. I get about £80 to do them. I've got some big ones to do down the field. These are little ones that I'm doing regularly. I'm going to get up a ladder and do them now, and we'll see how we get on. I'm not using the ideal tools, but you sort of make do on this job really. And you can see where I pollarded them a few years ago. Down below there you can see the branches that were left there to rot down. And here's what I'm using to trim the willow tree. It's not easy for me to film this and do this, but I'll have a go. Basically just snip the ends off with that, going up a step ladder. Oh, it's a windy day. I hope we can hear this. It's really annoying, all the wind. You can see in the crown here, you can see the new growth. This is probably about 2 years old, shooting out. It grows very quickly, the willow. So I'm basically cutting it back down to the base where it was cut before. I'm going to get my snips and start doing that now. You can see the stumps there where I've cut off the willow. I've got to do that over the whole tree now, so it's going to take me a while. Well, as you can see, it's a very windy day, and my tripod just blew over when I was filming myself up the tree there, starting the pollarding. It's also, you can probably hear the wind on the microphone, so it's not ideal me filming this while I do this. And I don't expect you want to see 10 minutes of me cutting bits of willow up off the tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on with the job, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a recap at the end. I'm going to film the finished result. So you'll see the finished result in a few seconds. I wish it would take me that long to do it. It's going to take me at least another hour to do those 2 trees. There we go, I'm halfway through this one now. You can see the white stumps where I've trimmed off. I've just got a Mohican at the top to cut off, so I'm going to do that now, and then it just leaves that other one to do. Well, I didn't have time to finish off the pollarding of the willow tree the other day because it was getting a bit windy and I didn't fancy staying up there really. But I've come back today just to finish this first willow tree off. I don't know whether I'll finish the second one. I'll certainly have a go at tackling it. It's quite nice. As I walked up to it, a little owl just flew out, which shows you the importance of having sort of trees like this as habitat. And if we pan across there, there's a bit of a rainbow. But I mean, it's been incredibly wet. And if you look on the floor just where the trimmings are, you can see a pool of water. And in there, the ruts, the water's just lying on the ground. So it is very wet. Anyway, I'm going to get back up that tree and hopefully finish it in the next quarter of an hour. Anyway, there we have it. I've sort of nearly finished pollarding this tree, and if you compare it with the one next to it, which was done 2 years ago, it's a lot neater. I'm going to have to tidy it up with a bullock because it's a bit scruffy. It looks like a bad haircut at the moment. But you can see I've cut the main lot of branches off, and there we go, down there to little stumps. So it just remains a bit of a tidy up really. Now what I've got left is the trimmings. Like I said, now some of this would have been used for basket weaving and stuff in the past. I don't do any of that. But the other interesting thing is we're very close to the River Severn here, and there was a very traditional craft of making a thing called putchers, which they used to catch Severn salmon in. They used to put these sort of willow woven, almost like a conical basket, into the River Severn in banks, and used to catch fish in them, catch the salmon. And that's died out now because farm salmon has become cheap, and also it's a very difficult job. People don't want to do a job like that anymore. I do have a putcher at home, which I'm gonna cut to in a minute, and I'll show you what a putcher's like. And I'll end up showing, hopefully tacking on at the end of this video, an old photograph of what the putchers were like. But there you go, that's the length of willow there that you probably use, maybe a bit longer to make a putcher. But I'm just going to stack these up on the side there for now. Okay, let's have a look at the putchers. Goodbye willow tree.